In this video, I'll explain exactly what an NFT is. When we looked them up, they were really hard to understand, so in this video, you'll find out what they are, why they're useful since that was our biggest question, and how the buying process works. Hello everyone and welcome to Finance Wisdom. In this video, we're going to talk about what is NFT, non-fungible token. If you're new to this channel, do like and subscribe to the channel. A non-fungible token, also called an NFT, is a type of digital token or asset. People often compare them to digital trading cards or digital paintings. When you buy an NFT, you are basically just buying the rights to that asset. Non-fungible means that it can't be changed every time it is made. It can't be broken up, and it can't look like anything else, such as a Bitcoin. One Bitcoin is the same as any other one. So how about NFTs? They are always different. They are never the same, as well as a sign. It's a small bit of information that you own. A token that doesn't change over time is called an NFT. What is an NFT? If you want to get down to the details, well, NFTs are just a piece of data that belongs to an address. Whoever knows the password to that address owns that piece of data. This piece of data can be bought and sold to different addresses. The data is verified on a blockchain so you can check the owner's history. With an NFT, this can always be tracked. For example, this CryptoKitty that sold for $600,000 is just a small URL that belongs to an address. That individual merely has a little bit of data in their possession. Is it theoretically possible for whoever controls the server where the picture is, typically hosted by the piece of data, to alter the image? When purchasing an NFT, it's critical to understand exactly what you're getting. You are purchasing a piece of information pointing to a server hosting an image or a GIF. You should be aware that the picture or GIF might change, as well as the server. On the blockchain, you truly possess a particular bit of data, not access to the server, not a picture or a GIF, but rather a little piece of data that links to the server. So in any way, purchasing an NFT is similar to purchasing a stock in that you are purchasing a little chunk of data that symbolizes something greater. Unless it is a dividend stock, you are not purchasing the whole firm and you are not receiving any dividends. What makes you want to purchase an NFT? There are several factors, but for the time being, the primary one driving the majority of purchases is that NFTs are seen as collectors by investors. Let's discuss the 4 primary reasons why an NFT is important. First off, the first NFTs of certain founders or firms will also be valuable, much as Bitcoin is so well known since it was the first cryptocurrency. For instance, Pokemon trading cards are becoming more popular and the first edition cards command the highest prices. Let's imagine you own the first US bill. It probably has some perceived value. The second factor that adds value to an NFT is its usefulness, or in other words, the advantages it offers in the current world. Consider Elvis Presley selling 50 million albums if he were still alive today. And if the programs he appeared in might be yours to watch forever if you owned one of them. Due to their practical advantages, these NFTs would soon gain popularity and become quite costly. Personally, I would only purchase an NFT if it offered a practical advantage. I believe that practically all NFTs will develop this kind of feature in the future. Creators will make money by selling NFTs in exchange for a membership community, a weekly lunch gathering, or something similar. Consider the Mona Lisa as an example of an NFT that is valued due to its rarity or uniqueness. Everyone may have a replica of the Mona Lisa in their home, but only one person, or in this instance, a museum, is able to display the original Leonardo da Vinci artwork for public viewing. The same holds true for a baseball that was autographed by Babe Ruth or the original United States Constitution. They are unusual. Even if they are only images of the cosmos, others may already have the image but not the original created by Stephen Hawking. Imagine if he only produced 3 new ones, they would be incredibly expensive since there are only 3 originals. The ownership history, I discovered, is what gives an NFT value. What is your favorite celebrity, for instance? Let's assume Robert Downey Jr. A particular favorite of mine chooses to sell his leather jacket and get a new one. Accordingly, he may have paid $200 for that leather jacket when he initially acquired it, but now I may spend $800 just to get Robert Downey Jr.'s same garment. The same is true with NFTs. The photograph of the duck that Barack Obama once owned may fetch $1 million from a collector. You should consider what an NFT genuinely contributes to society by keeping these in mind. When figuring out how much an NFT is worth, you should think about whether it is the first of its kind, has a particular use, is rare, and is owned by a famous person. For example, does paying $2.5 million for Jack Dorsey's first tweet fit into any of these? Let's go from top to bottom. Is it the first time? Yes. It is the first non-profit organization in the category. Does it help in any way? No. You can't change the tweet or use it to promote your business or something similar. The third is a one-of-a-kind. Lastly, who has owned it in the past? Actually, this is a no. Yes, this is Jack Dorsey's first tweet, but no famous person has owned this NFT yet. So, it doesn't fit into this category. For example, if it was my tweet and then PewDiePie bought it, the answer would be yes. But in this case, it only checks 2 of the boxes, so if you buy his first tweet, you're basically betting that someone else will want to buy it in the future for a higher price. Since holding that NFT does you no good, there's no point to it. You're buying it as a fun thing to do or to make money. If Jack Dorsey told the person who owns that NFT that he'll have lunch with them once a month, the value would go through the roof. If you like this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. The following are the top 11 most valued NFTs. This might become a bit rambly, so skip ahead if you don't want to listen to them. Following that is CryptoPunk 6965, which sold for 800 Ethereum. The next CryptoPunk 4156 sold for 650 Ethereum on February 18, 2021. Third, on January 24, 2021, CryptoPunk 2890 sold for 605 Ethereum. Then there's the well-known Dragon CryptoKitty, which sold for 600 Ethereum. 6487, a CryptoPunk, sold for 550 Ethereum. Following that, we have some land in the Decentraland globe, around 12,600 square meters. It went for 514 Ethereum. Following that is Hashmask 9939, which sells for 420 Ethereum. The F1 Delta, a highly fascinating automobile idea, was really sold for 415 Ethereum. On February 19, 2021, another CryptoPunk sold for 400 Ethereum. A genuine parcel of land in the Decentraland world sold for 345 Ethereum, and the legendary Nyan Cat sold for 300 Ethereum. If someone can replicate your NFT, it is a crucial question to ask regarding NFTs. Technically speaking, an NFT may be copied just like any other work of art, but because all NFTs keep a record of their transaction history, the original NFT address can be traced back to the original author. It's also crucial to keep in mind that someone may make a new NFT and direct it to the exact same hosting address as the original NFT, or they could link it to a different address that goes to the same image or GIF. The particular bit of data, not the picture, is what makes an NFT valuable. LeBron James could hit a free shot when 30,000 people are watching, just as I could make a free throw at my local YMCA, but one has far more value depending on what other people think of it. Even though I'm doing exactly what LeBron is doing, his free throws are valued far more than mine. How do I purchase an NFT? Is another query you can have when you enter the NFT market. Because buying an NFT is really fairly easy and presents about the same challenges as buying corporate shares. You should now be aware that the majority of NFTs are sold on NFT-specific markets, similar to those on eBay, Amazon, and Facebook Marketplace. The fact that NFTs are often acquired with ETH means that before you can buy a CryptoKitty or an NBA Top Shot, you probably need to have some real Ethereum on hand. This might be a disadvantage. Transferring cryptocurrency to an NFT wallet often requires some technical know-how, since if you do it improperly, you might lose all of your money in the transaction. Here are the 4 most popular NFT exchanges for buying and selling NFTs: niftygateway.com, OpenSea.io, SuperRare.co, and app.rarible.com. The first step if you want to purchase an NFT is to register for an account on that particular website. The second step is either purchasing cryptocurrency on another exchange and then transferring it to your wallet there. You should be aware that NFT wallets resemble every other cryptocurrency wallet quite closely. For anyone interested in the technical details, most of them are based on the ERC-721 protocols, but I promise not to go too technical in this video. They typically contain a public and a private key. Finally, you can actually place a bid similar to an auction and pay for whatever it is you're trying to purchase. What do you do with your NFT? Now that you've bought it, your NFT, you're probably wondering where the heck you store it. You store it in a wallet so that it's safe and accessible to show your friends and other people what you've recently bought. The best place to store your NFTs is on a hardware wallet like a Ledger Nano, where it can be offline and protected, but if you're wanting to keep it online, here are some options. Thank you for watching. I hope you have learned something from this video. If you like this video, do give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below. Thank you and goodbye.